Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I am bringing you the start of my January wrap-up vlog. So in December, I went back to a traditional wrap-up just because I was doing Vlogmas and all of my wrap-ups were in the daily vlogs that I was doing. And while I had thought that I would just take out those clips and put them together to put my wrap-up vlog together, it was hard keeping track of all of the clips because they were buried in my Vlogmas videos, and to be honest, I think I deleted some of that footage. So, we're going to go back to wrap-up vlogs again this year, and I think that just works better for me. It's much easier for me to keep track of the clips because I record them separate. And so, yeah, it also helps me because my thoughts on the books are fresh, and so I can tell you my thoughts and remember things to tell you while I'm doing these vlogs. So today is January 7th, and I've completed 3 things so far this month. So these are all books that I had started in 2021, so it's not an amazing feat, but I'm still pretty glad to have finished all of these books that I had hanging over from last year. And so, yeah, the first of the books that I have finished is Nightmare Hall, The Silent Scream. This is the first book in the Nightmare Hall series by Diane Ho. This is one of the things that came up in my December Rotating Decks TBR game. This is definitely a series that I have nostalgia for because it is a series that I read from when I was growing up. This particular installment introduces Nightmare Hall and it follows Jess, I believe. Yes. She is a freshman coming to Salem University. And so she has decided to house at this place called Nightingale Hall. But prior to her moving in, a previous resident was found hanged in one of the rooms at this hall, and they believe that she had committed suicide. Well, Jess and her new roommates arrive at Nightingale Hall. They settle in, and Jess gets this gorgeous room. It's super huge, but it's got this, weird chill in the air. She's not quite sure why her room is so much colder than the rest of the house. Then all of the stories start coming about how a girl was found dead in Nightingale Hall and that they believe she committed suicide. And then Jess finds out that the girl that committed suicide in the room that she is residing in. And so this book kind of follows Jess making friends with all of the roommates and some of the weird things that start happening at Nightingale Hall, her finding out about the stories behind why it's called Nightmare Hall, and maybe the girl who committed suicide at Nightingale Hall didn't actually commit suicide. And so I really enjoyed this one. It definitely kept me guessing. I think you can pretty much tell from what I just told you that obviously the girl did not commit suicide. I had no idea who the culprit was. I had thought I knew just based on feelings, but I ended up being wrong. And so I like it when I'm wrong, and I just realized that my little window pane thing here, it was like hanging on by a thread. It seems to have ripped off, but this is supposed to look like a window panel. And it does have a step back. So this is the girl who apparently committed suicide. At least I think that's what that picture portrays. But I really enjoyed this one. It was definitely a fast read. I don't remember reading this one when I was growing up. But I don't remember a lot of the Nightmare Hall things that I did read because I mostly read Christopher Pike and R.L. Stine. Nightmare Hall was just one of those ones that when I could find one, I would read it, but I couldn't find a lot of them. And so, yeah, I don't have a lot of memories of this series, and I don't believe I read this one ever. And I really, really, really enjoyed this one. I'm glad to have collected it. And yeah, we'll definitely be continuing with that series. So the next thing I finished was Kingdom Keepers, Disney After Dark. This is the first book in the Kingdom Keepers series, and you can see my copy is very holographic. I love that so much. This one is by Ridley Pearson, and it follows a group of kids who are hired to become holographic tour guides in the Disneyland or Disney World parks. This is Disney World, not Disneyland. But this one happens a majority in Magic Kingdom. That's where all of the action-y stuff happens. And anyway, all of the kids who are hired to become these holographic tour guides end up being able to come into the park after hours while they were sleeping, kind of in their dreams. And they are their holographic selves when they show up at the park. And it turns out that one of the characters at the park is wreaking havoc and is trying to do something nefarious. And so it's up to these 5 kids to stop them from doing what they want to do. And this was a reread for me. I read this when I took my daughter to Disney World for her 10th birthday. This was very, the ambiance is really great and really fun when I read it the first time, because obviously we were at Disney World. We were visiting all of the attractions that they're talking about in this book. And I just thought it was really, really fun. Just being in the park, and the whole thought of being in the park after hours and you're the only one there, and the characters come to life, and all of the animatronics aren't animatronics. They come to life, and it's just so fun. It's such a great premise, and I enjoyed it then. I enjoyed it on this reread. It's been several years. I won't tell you exactly how many, but it's been several years since I read this one, and I enjoyed it probably more than I did the last time I read it, because when I read it the first time, I only had this physical copy. This time I listened to the audiobook and read the physical copy, not at the same time, but in conjunction with each other. And so I would listen to the audiobook during my lunch break, and at night I'd read from the novel and then, do it that way. I enjoy reading books that way because I get a little bit of each. I get that presentation of the narration, which obviously can help your enjoyment of a book, especially if the narration is done well. And then I was able to get a lot more of the reading done in the physical copy because I can read faster than I can listen to it. So I really, really enjoyed this experience again. Hopefully, I will be continuing this series in the near future because it is a series that I would like to continue and just see where this goes. Do they visit other parks? What other characters are they going to come into contact with? And yes, really, really love this. If you love Disney and you enjoy being at the parks and having that feeling of visiting a park, even though you might not have visited it for a while, definitely pick up one of these books. At least this one, because I really, really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've been to Disney World. In fact, I haven't been since my daughter's 10th birthday, and that was only my second time there. I'm much more familiar with Disneyland. But, the attractions are the same or similar. And so, yeah, you want to get that feeling of being at a Disney park but can't or haven't been in a while, I definitely recommend reading one of these because it gave me that feeling. I was able to remember being in the attractions and things like that. And I really, really enjoyed that. So hopefully both of those series are going to be ones that I continue in 2022. And the last book that I finished, which I just finished last night, was my reread of The Magic Christmas. This is the Sweet Valley Twins and Friends Magna Edition. This is the first of the Magna editions, and this one is actually not written by Francine Pascal. This one is written by Jamie Suzanne, based on the characters created by Francine Pascal. This one follows the twins, Jessica and Elizabeth. I think it's on Christmas Eve is where this book starts. And they're getting ready for Christmas. They're having their family over. And both of them have created what they believe is going to be the best Christmas present ever for their twin. Well, when the time comes to exchange presents, both sisters can't believe that the other has given them what they've received because they just don't appreciate what they've received, I guess is the best way to say it without spoiling things. And so they get into this huge fight. Well, their grandparents come over and both of the girls end up getting identical Harlequin dolls with a little bit of a kind of family history story. These Harlequin dolls came from ancestors who were also twins, who also got into a fight to the point that they never reconciled their relationship. And so it's kind of like a lesson to the girls, yet the girls don't take it as a lesson. They're like, oh, we're too old for dolls. You know how you can be when you're a teenager. I think they're like 12 or something in this. I'm not quite sure. But they go to sleep still mad at each other. Well, in the middle of the night, these Harlequin dolls come alive. And both of the twins kind of try to follow their doll, trying to figure out what's happening. And they get sucked into this other land. Well, it turns out that these Harlequin dolls were princes who were bespelled by an evil sorcerer into these Harlequin dolls and banished into the other land, which is where Elizabeth and Jessica are from, like our normal time. And so not only do Jessica and Elizabeth have to find a way back to each other, but they also need to find a way back to their home in Sweet Valley. And this is just full of magical things. You've got mermaids and unicorns, and there's, like I said, an evil sorcerer. There's these evil, like, creatures called blood rats who try to, like, kill them. And it's such an adventure. There's a scene where one of the twins and the prince that they are with have to fly on these like huge leaves, and yeah, I really enjoyed this story. This is like I don't even know how many-th reread of it. It's one that I try to get to every year. I could have sworn I've read it in the more recent years, but according to Goodreads, I hadn't, and maybe I just didn't log it, but yeah, you can tell that this book is well loved. When I was reading this book, it actually started to separate from the spine, and the spine started ripping, so I did have to tape it up. I did find another copy of this book, so at least there's that. I now have 2 copies, but this is the book that I grew up with. This was actually my sister's, and when she got rid of all her Sweet Valley and Twins books, I kept this one because I loved it so much, and to this day, even at my age, I still really enjoyed this story. And so, yes, I don't think it's very easy to find. I had to set up an alert on a used book website just in case it showed up, and it just happened to last year. So I do have a second copy. It's not available digitally, which if it was, it would definitely be a purchase for me. I was never into Sweet Valley Twins when I was growing up. That was always my sister's thing. But this particular book, even though I'm not really familiar with all of their friends and, you know, the sisters going through their lives and things like that, I was able to jump into this story very easily. And like I said, it's one that I love to this day, and I'm glad to have revisited that story. So those are the 3 things that I finished so far in the month of January, and I will be back with you in a bit after I've read a little bit more. Hi everyone, it is Saturday, January 22nd, and I am here to tell you about everything I read since I chatted with you last. So this past Thursday was our manga club meeting. You can hear me talk about these titles under the Monochrome Manga Club header on my channel. So if you're ever interested in hearing my thoughts on the manga that we read every month for my In Real Life Manga Club, definitely check out those videos. But I will tell you here that we read all of these during the month. So we talked about Shortcake Cake Volume 1 by Sue Morishita, Night of the Ice Volume 1 by Yayoi Ogawa. Then we started our series read of Death Note by Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata, and we also started our series read of A Silent Voice by Yoshitoki Oima. So like I said, if you'd like to hear my thoughts on all of these volumes, definitely check out my Monochrome Manga Club Series First Impressions video, which should be posted already by the time this video goes up. So I will link that video down in the description box below if you'd like to hear my thoughts on these volumes. I also read The Lightning Thief, which is the first book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. I am doing a buddy read with my daughter and my mom for this entire series. And so I really enjoyed this one. This was a reread for me. I did experience it for the first time on audiobook, and I really enjoyed that as well. It's been a very long time since I read this one. There were definitely things I remembered, but there were also things that I didn't remember. And so I'm looking forward to continuing with the next installment in February. I think we're going to go ahead and watch this movie also as soon as my mom and my daughter are done reading. And so, yes, really enjoyed that one. I'm looking forward to continuing. And then I just finished In Death number 2. So this is Glory in Death. This follows a investigator named Eve Dallas, and it's set in the future. And in this one, she is looking into the death of an attorney. I can't remember what type of attorney, prosecuting attorney. And so, yeah, she's looking into the murder of this prosecuting attorney whose neck's been sliced open. And yeah, that's pretty much all this one is about. As the investigation goes, things get a little more hairier. And we also follow her relationship with her boyfriend a bit. This is my mom's favorite series, or at least it's one of my mom's favorite series. It's a series that she's read, I don't even know how many times. It seems like every time I'm asking her what she's reading a book from this series. She does read other things, but she goes back to this series a lot. And so while I was reading this one, I definitely talked to her about my thoughts as I was reading it, because I don't have to worry about spoilers. She already knows what this story is about, and I really enjoyed that experience. I enjoyed the investigation of this book. That whole portion was interesting to me. I do like how Eve investigates. I also enjoyed the futuristic aspects of this book. We've got futuristic appliances, and that's really what grabbed me in the first book in this series, was how there was this detailed description about how her shower worked. And it's like a multi-spray shower, and you can tell the shower how hot you want the water. And yeah, there's a lot of talk about the different types of things that are available. Even the cosmetics that are available in this world are like crushed gemstones. It's made from crushed gemstones and things like that. The mascara is called like a lash darkener. I find all of those things fascinating, and how it's applied. And like lipstick lasts for 3 weeks. And yeah, I find all of those things fascinating. I don't enjoy the aspects where we're in the relationship stuff. There was a lot of relationship drama in this book for me. Her and her boyfriend got into a really big fight. There are definitely reasons for it, but yeah, based on how the end or the last couple pages, maybe even just the last page of this book goes, I believe all of that stuff's going to go out the window from here on out. I could be wrong, but I definitely did not enjoy all of that relationship drama. If you know me, you know that I don't enjoy contemporary books in general because of those aspects. I don't enjoy the drama. I don't like reading about drama. A lot of drama. I don't enjoy it, and this had a lot of it. But like I said, I enjoyed the investigation. I enjoyed the futuristic appliances and talk about things that, like galactic travel. All of that's interesting to me. So, yeah, not crazy about the relationship stuff, but I will eventually read another book in this series because I do enjoy talking to my mom about this one. Like I said, it's a series that she's read. I can talk to her about things without spoiling things. One of the things that really got on my nerves, though, is the butler. Her boyfriend's butler, I don't know what is up with him. Apparently there is a reason why he is there, but we don't know that. And so him, on top of all of the relationship drama, I didn't like. But there were definitely parts of this that I did like. And yeah, I'll eventually pick up another book in this series. And so that is everything I've read since I talked to you last. I will check in with you at least one more time before the month is over. So I'll talk to you in a bit. Hi everyone, it is Saturday, January 29th, and I am here to tell you about all of the things that I have read since I talked to you last. So, I completely forgot to mention last clip that I was participating in TBRPGathon. I was kind of just doing it lightly, and then I was just like, oh, this isn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be, just because it was a manga reading week, because I had to read all of the manga for club. And so, yeah, I got through all of the prompts and I did really well. I'll put up my picture here. You will see a lot of the things that I had already talked about in the previous clip, but the next two things that I have to share with you, I haven't talked to you about yet. So those are the two that I read for the last 2 days of TBRPGathon. So those were LDK, volumes 15 and 16 by Ai Watanabe. This is published by Kodansha Rated Older Teen. This series follows our two main characters here on the cover, who are living in an apartment complex on their own. They have their own separate reasons for doing so, but they are both high school students living on their own. And then in the first volume, the female character here, her name is Aoi, she tries to do something nice for Shuhei, who is our male character here. He actually lives next door, and he's a very, very popular person at their high school. And she ends up trying to do something nice to thank him for doing something for her. And she ends up burning his apartment. And so he ends up having to live with her while his apartment is getting fixed. And so this story follows them trying to hide the fact that they're living together, because that's something that's not acceptable. And they could get into real big trouble with the school if anybody finds out. And then eventually it follows their relationship. I'm sure you can tell just by the cover here. But this is a series that I really, really enjoy. I ended up renting a copy of a movie that was available on Viki for like 99 cents, which I thought was a completely separate story, like a spin-off. And that wasn't in the manga because I hadn't read what had happened in that movie. That actually comes up in volume 16 here. So I am actually seeing that now. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. It was the best 99 cents I spent in a while. And yes, I really, really enjoyed these 2 volumes. I have 2 more volumes which I just acquired. This series is one that comes out really slow, and so I kind of like to collect a few so that I can marathon read through several, because it comes out about 1 volume a year, if that, and I just go through these so fast. And so, yes, these were the last 2 things I read to complete my TBRPGathon readathon. So I really, really enjoyed those. The next thing that I finished was Lois Duncan's I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I'm sure you all have heard of this movie. This is even the movie tie-in cover. It follows a group of high school students, college students who did something bad the summer before college, and somebody is aware of what they did and starts terrorizing them. This book, if you've seen the movie, this book is very, very different from the movie. This is the first time I've actually read this book, but I've seen the movie a couple times. In fact, we watched the movie in October, and it was the first time that my daughter had seen it. I have to admit that I enjoyed the movie more than I enjoyed this book. This book did not bring the same feelings of suspense that the movie brought. In fact, the book focuses more on the relationships between our characters, their friendship, and what happened in the aftermath of the events of that summer, their romantic relationships, that what happened after the events of the summer and what happened to those. And it was just a lot of like teenage drama, and I don't enjoy reading stories like that. Also, the suspensefulness kind of wasn't there, like, at all. I know I had said earlier that it didn't have the same kind of suspense. I don't feel like there was any suspense in this book. And to be honest, I don't know how I would feel if I had read this when it had come out, because I think I would have had a different opinion. Just because the characters here would have been my age at the time. But I definitely think that I would still feel like the movie was better, even if I had read this when I was younger. I don't get, like, the whole, like, reason why this is happening doesn't play out as well in the book as it does in the movie. And like I said, the book is very different from the movie. And so I think the adaptation did a really good job bringing out those sections of this book that made that story suspenseful. Even this title here gives you that feeling that there's a suspensefulness to it. Like, somebody knows, but I didn't get that feeling reading this book. In fact, I listened to almost all of it via audiobook, and while I enjoyed listening to the narration, I still didn't, it was just kind of meh for me. Am I glad I read this book? Sure, I'm glad I read it. Lois Duncan was an author that I really, really enjoyed when I was a teenager. But I would have to say in this case, the movie is better than the book. And the last 2 that I've read recently are volumes 1 and 2 of Haikyuu by Haruichi Furudate. This one is published by Viz, rated teen, yes, about our high school volleyball, boys high school volleyball team, kind of rising from the bottom to claim the top spot again. And this is a reread for me. I've read volume 1, I think 3 times now, which I'll tell you right now, volume 1 is not my favorite. In fact, when we watch the animated adaptation, I always skip over the first episode. I don't enjoy that episode. I'll play it, but I won't pay attention to it because my family is usually watching with me. but I don't like what goes on in this first volume. It's not where the story's heart is, I guess. It gives you that little bit of backstory to tell you where our two characters here on the cover are coming from, and kind of gives the push for you to like see how they're going to interact in the future, because they do end up on the same team. This story starts when our two characters here are in middle school, and so by the end of this volume, they're in high school, and they figure out that they're on the same team and need to figure out how to work with each other, and are kind of forced into doing it after some events. But this is a beloved series in my house. We really, really enjoy it. I am reading these for part of the Fly Along hosted by Shay Geeks Out. And yeah, so I have not actually made it through this entire series, but I'm hoping to do that with the Fly Along. So up to about volume 30 something is going to be all rereads for me. I definitely enjoyed reading these volumes again, even though it's a story that by now I am so familiar with after the countless times of watching the anime, and I'm looking forward to continuing and hopefully finally finishing the series this year. So that's everything I've read up until this point. We do have 2 more days until the end of the month. I am hoping to finish at least 1 more book and a couple more volumes of Haikyuu before the month is over, so I will check in with you one more time before this month is over, and I will talk to you in a bit. Hi everyone, it is Monday, January 31st, and I am here to wrap up this wrap-up vlog. So I actually have not read anything else since I talked to you last. I thought I would have at least 1 more volume of manga done, but I didn't finish that 1 volume of manga. I did start it, but I didn't finish it. So you will hear me talk about that in next month's wrap-up vlog. I will probably finish that volume tonight. But tonight in my vocabulary means like after midnight. So it's definitely going to be a February finish. But yeah, so I think it's been an okay reading month. I have the stack here, so let me pull it up for you. So this is everything that I read in the month of January. These 2 volumes here that I have backwards represent Death Note. Whew, I caught that one. They represent the 2 volumes of Death Note that I read because I have the all-in-one edition. And so that includes every volume, and I only read 2 of the volumes. So I don't want to have the whole stack here to show you, but yeah, I read 3 novels and 10 volumes of manga, I think. So not too bad, but that does put me behind my total of novels I want to read for 2022, because I do want to read 52 total novels before the end of the year. That's kind of always been my sub goal for the last like 3 or 4 years, wanting to hit that 52 novel mark, just because I do read a lot of manga, but this isn't too bad for the beginning of the year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to February reads. I've got a lot of plans for February. If you haven't checked out my TBR video and me talking about those plans, definitely check that video out down in the description box below. And that will pretty much do it for January. So if you've read any of these things that I have read this month, definitely let me know your thoughts of them down in the comments below, but please no spoilers. And if nothing else, if you could like this video and leave me a strawberry emoji down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. Strawberry because of shortcake cake. There is a piece of strawberry shortcake in the back here. So yeah, that will do it for me for January. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.